so here we go with card number 2 for January 2011. Here's our card. Isn't that sweet? Alright, let's get started. So first you're going to need some basic black cardstock, cut 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. We're going to fold that in half. Having it scored makes it folding much easier. Set that aside for a moment. The next piece you're going to need is this color is called Melon Mambo, and it is 3.5 by 5 inches. And we're going to go ahead and add that to the front of our card using some snail adhesive. Just kind of center it up there. Once you let go, it's stuck. So if you don't have it perfect, then you'll have to live with the results. And perfect's not required anyway. Alright, the next is we're going to have some basic black cut oops, do I not have the measurement for this one? Oops, let me just look real quick here. It is 4.5 by 3. 4.5 by 3. So your recipe may not have this dimension. You might need to write that one down. 4.5 by 3. Seems like I might have left that off the mini recipe. So please write that in. Okay, again, center this up. Just make sure your edges are kind of straight. There you go. So that's the foundation for our card. And we can set that aside. Now we're going to build the centerpiece. And so we'll use some very vanilla cardstock that's cut 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. And then we're going to stamp it. The stamp set that we're going to use is called Artistic Etchings. And it is from our big catalog. And has wonderful, Eiffel Tower and wonderful things on it. So we're going to use rose red ink, to stamp our first cluster of images. And what's nice about our acrylic stamps is that you can cluster stamps together. So we're going to do that. We're going to do what's called two-step stamping. We're going to stamp it once in the boldest first stamp, and then we're going to stamp the same stamp again without re-inking another time, and will give us a little lighter color for the same images. So we'll just stamp it. Pretty simple. Make sure you got pressure to all the stamps involved. And there's our first image. Then we kind of rotate it, and then we'll stamp again, and this image will be lighter. And so there we have a fainter image of the same detail. Okay, and this provides a background for our Eiffel Tower stamping. So we're going to take, again, we're going to cluster the Eiffel Tower stamp and the Amour, just hovering above it. And it's going to fit perfectly on our cardstock. That's a good way to gauge what size you might want your cardstock to be cut too, if you're designing. Okay, we're going to take basic black classic ink. And if you've not used an image before that's detailed, you might want to just stamp off on your scrap paper, or if you have grid paper like I do, then that's a good way to do it, to cover your surface area. Okay, and then we're going to stamp our image. Okay, and then we're going to add that. No, we're going to ribbon it first. ribbon. We want ribbon. And you probably would have wanted to stamp that just a little bit more to the left, but it's okay. I mean to the right, to your right. But it's fine. Okay, so now we're going to take a 6.5 inch piece of seam binding that's in rose red, and we're going to snail the back of that, and we're going to adhere it beside our Amour. So we have our ribbon attached. Then we're going to take a longer piece of ribbon. This is the seam binding. I'm calling it ribbon. It's 12 inches long. And we're going to make our bow. So the first thing you're going to do is find the center, and then you're going to fold one loop by the center and another loop by the center. And then you're going to fold it a second one, and then you can play with this dry like I'm doing in my hand before you start doing it for real. Okay, so it goes together like that. So now we can kind of get an idea here. So we're going to find our center, which is 6 inches, right? Put a little snail there, and then fold our first bow into the center. And then our second. Okay, so you see you have, if you're not satisfied with it, ribbon usually can be pulled loose fairly easy at this point. Okay, and then we're going to add a little more snail. And we're going to fold in our ribbon to make the next layer of loop. And this is where you'd need some scissors, which I did not leave out for myself, but that's alright. We'll just continue like I did. Alright. This is going to be a little bit ugly problem there, but if you had your scissors ready, you could cut that off so it's out of your way. Alright. So then this piece, I can snip that off later at any time with scissors. Don't be distressed about that tail hanging on there. Alright, so then we're going to add that to our ribbon that's already on our center piece to get this effect. Sans the tail on yours. Okay. Alright, then we have another element we're going to add, and this is a new embellishment that's called rosettes. We've had rosette kind of things, the crocheted kind of things before, and there's some fun rosette things in our new Occasions Mini that's effective January. So there's some fun embellishments. This happens to be one of the fun embellishments that's in the Occasions Mini. And these are vanilla rosettes. So they have that very vanilla coloring. And we're going to use mini glue dots to adhere them to our card front. But actually it probably is easier at this point to go ahead and attach this to the front of your card, because once you've got the bulk of that flower on there, it will not be easy to apply snail to the back. Okay, so we will attach that to our card front. There we go. Now we're ready to add our flower with our mini glue dots, and they're on a roll. I don't know if you can see the dots. There's little tiny dots all along here, and you're going to need to pick up several. You just press on it and it picks it right up. So you several around the back of this rose. 4 minimally, maybe 5. Okay. And then press it down. And don't be afraid about crushing, it'll be fine. So press it down on the front of your card. And there you go. Notice that was pretty fast and easy compared to the one we just did as card number 1. But this would be a really pretty easy one to replicate too. Okay, so that's card number 2, and let's move on to making card number 3.